So I want us to look at coordinate geometry and specific circumcenter of triangle. Now, before we kind of dive into solving it, I just want to point out how the question is structured. So we have a triangle with the coordinates for each vertex. So in the first part, they are telling us to find the midpoint of PQ, so the midpoint. Then they are saying now, hence, because you find the midpoint, find the equation of perpendicular bisector. That means what? A line that goes at right angle through that line PQ. And then they are saying, hence again, find the coordinates of the circumcenter of triangle, because that is the point where the perpendicular bisector of the sides meets. Because then if I have another midpoint, another perpendicular bisector, where they meet, that's where I'm going to have the circumcenter of the triangle. So you can see the way the question is structured, that is taking you through these steps because you need them in order to solve the last part. Okay, now let's focus on each part. Okay, so we have the triangle with all the vertex and we have to find the midpoint. How do we find the midpoint? We have a formula. We go to our table, coordinate geometry, formulas, and there it is, formula for the midpoint. So always make sure you write down the formula that you are using, showing that, oh yeah, this is what I'm using. What do we need for this formula? Coordinates of one point, and then coordinates of the second point. Which point is first, which one is second, doesn't matter. Let's say that the first one is P and the second one is Q. So that means that is x1, y1, and then that means that is x2, y2. And we replace letters with numbers. So x1, that's 6, plus, and then x2, that's 4. That is the first coordinate, and then the second coordinate 2 again. y1, that is 5, plus, and then y2 is minus 3. And all we have to do, we put the first part in our calculator, press equal, and we get 5. And then we put the second fraction in the calculator, press equal, and then we get 1. So we have the midpoint, and as we already know, hence, therefore, with that knowledge of having the midpoint, now we can create equation of perpendicular bisector. Equation of what? A line is what? Y minus y1 equal mx minus x1 in our table. Just let's have a look so that we know that's where that formula is. What do I need here? I need what? A point. So what is my point? That is the only point I have. That is my 5 and 1. And then I need what? A slope. So how do I get a slope? And that's where the knowledge comes in when two lines are perpendicular to each other. A slope of one multiplied by the slope of the other one will equal minus 1. What that means in practice, if I have a slope of one of those lines, I can have the slope of the second line. Then I'm saying, okay, how do I find the slope? So again, I go to my tables, I find the formula, get the formula, write it down, and I'm saying I need what for that formula? I need 2 points. Now, I don't have the 2 points for the line for the perpendicular bisector, but I have the P and Q point. So again, let's say that's my P point, and that's my Q point. And then we replace again letters with numbers. So my P, what was it? 6 and 5. So 6 and 5 minus minus, and then my Q point is 4 and minus 3. So 4 and minus 3. And again, we put that in the calculator and we press equal, and we get that our slope is 4. That means that the perpendicular line, we take that, turn it upside down, so it will be 1 over 4, and we change the sign. If that is positive, that's going to be negative. So that is my slope here, minus 1 over 4. So we fill in the numbers, letters with numbers, so y remain y, minus y1 will be 1, equal, instead of m, the slope is 1 over 4 multiplied by x minus x1, which is 5. Now, what do I do with this calculation? I have to make sure that it's one of the acceptable forms since they didn't give it to me. So either I have y on its own and then move the other values to the other side, or all of them on one side of the equation and nothing on the other side, whichever way you want to go. So let's move 1 to the other side, and at the same time, let's multiply our brackets. So I'm going to have y minus 1 over 4x, and then minus 1 over 4 multiplied by minus 5, we get plus 5 over 4, and moving that one, changing the sign plus 1. So the only thing that is left, those two numbers together, we put that in the calculator, we press equal, and we get is 9 over 4. So there it is, our equation. Now, the next part, so hence again, hence meaning what? With the knowledge we just acquired, what is that knowledge? This is the equation of the perpendicular bisector of PQ. We have to find the circumcenter of this triangle because, like what we said, it will be a meeting of the 2 points. So I need to find the coordinates here. How do we find the coordinates of the point where 2 lines meet? Simultaneous equation, isn't it? So we have one of these equations. We have the formula for perpendicular bisector of PQ. Now I need the same for the second. For, let's say, QR or PR. Doesn't matter which of those two you want to pick. Both of them will work. Let's just write our values down here. So point P, let that be my first point. And then let's say R, that is my second point. So I'm just going to write it down so that I can use them. I don't have to go back up. So again, I know that in order to write, oops, why did I get that? Equal sign y minus y1 equal mx minus x1. So I need the slope, and I know that at the moment I first need the slope of PR so that I can turn it upside down. So again, the second y minus 3, and then the x at the bottom minus minus. First one 5, and x is 6. And again, we put that in the calculator, we press equal, and the slope of PR is a half. So that means that the slope I am looking for, sorry, it's not a half, my apologies, I put that wrong in the calculator. It's actually minus 2. Minus 2. So if the slope of PR is minus 2, that means the slope of perpendicular bisector of PR will be what? We take that, turn it upside down, so 1 over 2, and we change the sign, so plus. So that will be the slope of that perpendicular bisector of line PR. Okay, oh yeah, what do we need else? A point, the midpoint. So again, I need to have the midpoint. Let's quickly just take our formula from here for the midpoint, because I need a point that is on perpendicular bisector. So again, those are our numbers. So that means 2x1 is 6 plus x2 10, and then second, y1 is 5 plus y2 minus 3. And again, we put each of them in the calculator, and we get for the first one, that is 8, and for the second, it's 1. So now this is our point where we're going to fill that in. So it will be y minus y1 will be 1 equal, the slope is a half, multiplied by x minus x1, that's 8. Okay, let's just get two of our equation together. So my first equation was y equal, just hold on, minus 1 over 4, 1 over 4x plus 9 over 4. And then the second equation, I'm just going to move that 1 to the other side and multiply my brackets. So a half x minus 4 and then plus 1. Yeah, so we multiply the bracket and then we move that so it becomes plus. Now, to solve those simultaneous equations, since both of them are equal y, then that means that I can equal those two. So I have, minus 1 over 4x plus 9 over 4 equal a half x minus 4 plus 1, that will be minus 3. Now, how do I solve it? X is on one side, doesn't matter which side. And remember, when you are moving items from one side of the equation, you change the sign. We move 9 over 4 to the other side. Together, minus 1 over 4 minus 1 over 2. We get a value. We put that in the calculator. So that is minus 3 over 4x, and whatever numbers I have on the other side, again, we can put that in the calculator. I want the value of x, so what do? I divide both sides by minus 3 over 4. That way, that fraction is gone here. And then on the other side, I have a number. When I put that in the calculator, what do I get? 7. Now, to find the value of y, because don't forget, that's what we need, I can use any of those two equations, doesn't matter which one. So let's say the first one, y equal minus 1 over 4, value of x is 7, plus 9 over 4, and we put that in the calculator, and we get that that is a half. So that those are the coordinates of my circumcenter.